What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, back at it again, bringing you guys another light novel breakdown comparison video of chapter 99 of The Beginning After the End. So in the light novel, the corresponding chapter of 99 will be chapter 56 if you guys would like to read this on your own. Right now I'm just going to be reading it and then, breaking down what we already saw in the webcomic compared to the light novel, and just seeing the differences and the comparisons of, both chapters. So if you guys want to see more of my light novel breakdowns, and if you guys do enjoy this one, please remember to smash that like button. Heat meter is going to be 100 likes for this, guys. If you guys want to see more of this, let's hit that benchmark, guys. Let's get it done. And also, turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload, especially if you enjoy this kind of content beginning after the end. You definitely want to tune in every time I drop one. So with that all out of the way, let's get started with the breakdown. Alrighty, chapter 56. This is going to hurt. On Professor Glory's signal, the three of us dashed forward. Curtis was mounted on top of Grouder, was to my left, and Claire was to my right, both a bit ahead of me. Alright. Tess and Clive and Lucas all split up as soon as we charged. Tess circled around the left side as she prepared to take on Curtis, while Clive dashed around the right side of Claire before she reached him. Okay. We didn't really get to see that animated. I don't believe so in the webcomic. And when I say animated, I mean, the webcomic, obviously. There's no animation for this, so you guys get what I'm saying, right? Okay. Straight ahead, I saw Lucas calmly waiting for me, his face twisted in a haunting sneer that seemed to say, I don't need to get ready for you. I can literally picture that look right now. Like, honestly, Lucas, you need to just go home with that energy. Like, bro, you're not scaring nobody. Whether it was at the Dire Tombs or even now, Lucas' arrogance had no limit. I still remember when he betrayed us, using us as live bait so we could escape. Even then, he had the same sneer as he had now. He's never gonna learn. Tess was probably going to beat Curtis, and I wasn't sure who was stronger between Claire and Clive, but I'd worry about that later. Wind and earth bend to my will as I infused more mana, activating mana rotation as well. Lucas wasn't weak. His mana pool was bigger than mine, but that didn't mean he was stronger than me. Okay, we get a clear breakdown of for sure his mana pool is bigger, because I think in the webcomic Lucas art was saying I think his mana pool is bigger, but we know for sure it's definitely bigger. And in the webcomic we found out that his mana pool is almost on par of a Silver Sage mana core. Broken, guys, broken, but we'll keep it pushing. Will you be alright by yourself against Lucas? I heard Curtis shout as he dashed towards Tess. What? Curtis, you said that? Wow, you're down to our boy Art. That's crazy. Claire looked back at me in slight worry as well, until I gave them a silent nod. She nodded back and focused on the student vice president. Well, okay. That's cool that we see at least them caring about Art, because they respect Lucas's power, but they don't know all about Art yet. So it's interesting, and it's not surprising that they are, low-key worried for him. Lucas sensed the bit of killing intent I purposely let out to shock him out of his pedestal as he began quietly chanting a spell while dashing backwards to get more distance between us. That conquers hockey, man, exuding that energy. I love to see it. Soaring up ahead, I felt Professor Glory's keen eyes studying me as I closed the gap between us. I took a deep breath and blocked out everything else. As far as I was concerned, this was a fight between Lucas and me. Narrowing my eyes in the utmost concentration, each powerful step I took created a small crater in the ground as the wind whistled around me. Wow, that sounds way more intense than it did in the webcomic, or what it looked like. And it's interesting because we're getting this from Arthur's point of view, not the professor's point of view, because it seemed like it was from the professor's point of view within the whole webcomic of chapter 99. But now it's kind of cool that we're getting different sides. Alrighty. Lucas let out a chortle before he released his spell, Inferno's Cage. Alright. The spell reminded me of the Ember Wisp spell that both Lucas and the ex-professor just has used, but it was a lot bigger. The orb scattered and floated in place around the both of us, creating a dome made of fire. Don't tell me. With a confident smirk, he snapped his fingers and uttered, "Activate." The orbs glowed in response before spewing out bullets of fire. If it was a spell on the level of Ember Wisp, I would have been able to close the gap while dodging the fireballs. But this was insane. Dozens of fire blasts were locked in on my position and fired at a constant rate, coming from all directions. Okay, that's interesting because I feel like if Professor Gist and Lucas had a fight, Lucas would definitely beat him. Because Art is kind of like saying like, yo, like, this is nothing compared to the Ember Wisp that the professor used. And we know that the professor, Arthur even told the professor, use your best spells at me, like towards the end. And that was one of them. So, I mean, I feel like maybe Lucas could probably maybe mid or high diff the professor, which is kind of crazy to say. Yo, anywho, if I hadn't trained my body and fighting techniques during my time as an adventurer, I doubt that no matter how fast I was, I would be able to dodge everything. Without even giving me a chance to take a step closer to my target, I was forced to dodge and block every incoming missile constantly bombarding me. That's crazy. Inferno's Cage. Whoever came up with this spell deserved a sword up their ass to feel what a pain it was to deal with. On top of the constant fireballs and streams of flames that locked onto me, the heat inside this dome was wearing me down. Without my fire attribute mana or water attribute mana, there was no direct way to counter the heat inside. Dang, which is crazy. No wonder Art was sweating a lot within the webcomic. Okay. Using fire attribute mana to make my body more immune to fire, or even use water attribute mana to directly cool my body, were both out of the question. Keep running around, monkey. Wow, called him a monkey. Lucas, you're wildin'. Do you think it's even possible for a peasant of the mages to actually have a chance against someone like me? Oh my god. I can't wait to step on you to crush whatever speck of confidence you had just because you became a DC member and a professor. I thought this class would be a waste of time, but now I know why I was brought here. It was to crush you. Let's keep it pushing. His little petty boy face was wrenched in an ugly expression as he sneered. "Are you okay, Papa?" Sylvia's concerned voice echoed in my head after feeling how frustrated I was at the moment. Okay, she's saying that because he was frustrated, not that he was getting scared or, him being worried. "Yeah, I'm fine, Syl. Don't worry about me. How's everyone else doing?" I sent back. "Mama is winning against Curtis, and Claire is winning against the serious-looking guy," she responded. "Okay, just tell me if something unusual happens." I turned my focus back to the fight. Dodging the flame bullets and the occasional streams of fire was easy, but I couldn't get close to Lucas. I would release a wind blade and some spikes of earth at Lucas, but either the orbs that made up the dome destroyed it, or Lucas just blocked the spell with one of his own. What is with this kid's mana pool? Does he even have a limit to how long he can keep the spell up? No, calm down, Arthur. You don't want to be impatient. Think, how can he use wind? Wind. What is wind? It's a movement of air, right? What is air? Oxygen? Nitrogen? So I'm able to control oxygen and nitrogen as well. If so, how? It's cool, he's breaking this all down within a fraction of like seconds probably too. Honestly, because he's in a fight right now. I was growing frustrated at my lack of comprehension in my wind and earth elements. Now was as good of a time as any to try and comprehend, for real. It wasn't just enough to shoot wind bullets or wind blades because Lucas had already prepared several levels of fire shields around himself. I wasn't thinking outside of the box when I used wind. Even with mana rotation, I didn't have the necessary mana to form a big tornado enough to swallow the fire shooting at me. And even if I did, I didn't think I'll be able to last that long against Lucas. What am I missing? Keep squirming. I'm sure I can get away with a couple fireballs landing on you. Even after your gear activates, since I can't cancel the blast from the orbs once they've been released. He shrugged nonchalantly as a shield around him blocked any spells I fired at him. Oh my god, it's all a pansy. Think, Arthur. Let's focus on fire. What does fire need to keep burning? It needs oxygen. Could I get rid of the oxygen around me so that the fire couldn't reach me? Then what would happen to me? Would I be able to breathe? That's cool. We're really going to see him like break this down. This is awesome because we didn't get this in the webcomic. All right. Professor Glory's POV. All right, from her point of view. Lucas is better than I've heard. Inferno's Cage was a pretty tough spell to master, yet he was able to cast it while running backwards. Seriously, he was barely 13, and he could already use a domain-type spell. Ha! The world sure has come to change. With a half-elf like him using fire attribute magic, even Princess Tess, they were all monsters. I got shivers down my back. Imagine how strong they'll become by the time they graduate from here. But that brat, Arthur, what the hell is he? Lucas winks. Since he awakened a few years back, thanks to his elf lineage, I could sort of understand the level of control he had with his spells. Desire Earthwind, her being a pure elfin lineage from the royal family guaranteed that her skills were a few levels above anyone around her age. But Arthur? ? Yeah, for real. As soon as he flashed through the field to confront Lucas, I felt a cold sweat. The way both the wind and earth naturally gravitated and danced around him. He was controlling the element to his commands, like typical mages did. No, he was in perfect harmony with the mana surrounding him, as if the elements were mere extensions of his limbs. Crazy. Seems like the brat Lucas was taking Arthur seriously. Good thing too. Or he probably would have lost instantly. Yo, that's crazy. And that's interesting that he started taking him seriously right off the jump, knowing how Lucas is. Honestly, that kind of shocked me. But anyway, currently the spell Inferno's Cage encompassed both Arthur and Lucas in a large domain of fire. I could tell Lucas was a bit worried after using it, but this was a continuous spell that he could leave activated until he ran out of mana, which I didn't feel would happen anytime soon. The dome made up of tiny orbs of fire was like a death trap used by conjurers to gain the advantage against argumenters and agile mana beasts. The tiny orbs could shoot out beams and bullets of fire anywhere inside the dome, leaving the argumenter occupied enough so that the conjurer could cast more spells interruptedly. That's broken. That is really broken. But a smart spell. I focused my gaze over to Curtis and to Saya. As expected, Curtis was having a hard time. I had the chance to observe the elf princess practicing with our director once, and I had to say, the way she battled was quite elegant. She was a conjurer, but her staff was actually a sharp blade made of special wood that was lighter but harder than most metal. Dang. Casting buffs on herself and using spells in sync with her movements, she danced around the vines she conjured with a speed faster than even some trained argumenters from the wind aiding each movement and action. Wow. She fought in a mixed style of both conjuring spells and using close combat, so she had no notable weaknesses. Wow, that's interesting. She probably got like her conjuring spells from like, from Good Sky, and then the close combat from Veron. Yo, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Compared to her masculine ways of fighting, I could only admire how graceful and beautiful her style was. Alright, Claire Bladeheart, on the other hand, was gaining the advantage on our student vice president. Clive was a rare long-range argumenter that wielded a short bow, capable of firing arrows at an almost unbelievable fast pace. Oh, he uses a bow? Would never expected that. Usually, he would be at an advantage against most argumenters, but Claire was a bad matchup for him. Miss Bladeheart's style mimicked that stick, Caspin. Oh, wow. With her dual elements, she created spears of wind and fire from her rapier. Wow, she's a dual elemental mage? That's news to me. Wow. So she's even better than Caspin. She had yet to reach his level, but with constant training, I was confident that she could surpass her uncle. Well, obviously not stronger than him now, but I mean like the potential-wise. That's what I was trying to get. My bad. I turned my attention back to the most intense fight, which was definitely Art and Lucas. I noticed that most of the students were watching their fight as well, in awe from both of their abilities. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at what was happening. That was strange. Arthur was getting hit by fireballs now. At this rate, even with protection from mana, his gear was going to activate. He had dodged them so effortlessly just a minute ago. I focused more mana into my eyes to get a better look. The dome of fire surrounding them blocked a lot of my view, but I could still sort of make out the fight. It seemed like Arthur was trying to do something. Was he holding his breath? What was he trying to do in this situation? Torch, fly down a bit lower. My bond descended as he angled his massive wings to keep himself leveled. As we slowly circled around the huge fire dome that surrounded the third of the field, I began noticing some changes. Around him, for every 3 or 4 fire blasts that scraped or hit him, one would completely extinguish before it reached him. Yo, he's taking out the oxygen. No, a smile crept on my face as I continued observing him. Don't tell me he actually is trying to learn how to manipulate air in this situation right now. Yo, I covered my mouth as I continued to smile and wonder. That little monster, he has guts, I'll give him that. Yo. Air manipulation was a variation of wind magic, although a much harder one. Breaking down the components of any element and trying to directly manipulate it is something only the most keen and sensitive mages can do. And that's while meditating in a perfectly calm and peaceful environment. Wow. After years of practice through meditation, the mage might begin experimenting in real-life situations, like incorporating it in spells. The blue fire technique was a perfect example of that. It took years of meditation to reach the stage to stably summon blue flames, and even longer to do it fast enough to be used in actual battles. Wow, so just wasn't a slouch. That's pretty cool to see. This little beast was skipping a few steps and trying to incorporate a completely new technique in the middle of a battle. My hands trembled in excitement as the thought of being able to witness the development of a mage that can perhaps become the pinnacle of power in this school. No, maybe even this continent. Bro, yo, what's going on? Turning my attention at the sound, it seems like Princess Tessia and Prince Gladiator battle was reaching its climax. Oh, okay, we gotta see what's happening. Curtis Gladiator's uniform was full of small gashes and nicks. I must admit that Curtis had done fairly well against the only disciple of our director Goodsky, although it was most likely because of his bond that he was able to last this long. Hey, still part of his power. You forced me to do this, Princess Elthrin. Please be careful. Phase 1. King's Wrath. Phase 1. Yo, he's using his beast. Well, holy shit. I heard Princess Gladiator roar as his body growled. Oh, he activated the acquired phase of his beast will. Curtis rarely chose to use his beast abilities because he didn't really consider it his own power. True. I had to hand it to him for having the right mentality. It was said that some beast tamers choose to only use their unique powers instead of honing their own. Because of that, while still strong, they never really improved themselves in the long run. In order to utilize the most of the beast will, the user himself needs to strengthen his own power. That's cool because we get to see that Curtis understood that situation when he got that beast will, or the mana beast, and he's actually trying to level up alongside with it, and he's only using it as a trump card, so it seems. That's really awesome to hear. Alrighty. As he activated his beast will first phase, a noticeable transformation occurred in him. While the amount of visibility change differed by the person, Prince Gladiator change was visibly apparent. Both his deep red spiky hair and eyebrows became longer and messier. Wow, his hair became longer, while the straps that wrapped around his arms tightened from the muscles expanding. Yo, we definitely didn't see that in the webcomic. Holy shit. He's beasting up. His extended canines became visible as he roared. I whistled. The sight never failed to impress me. Dang. While I shifted my gaze to Princess Tessia, though, who was standing on top of a series of vines, her face looked unnaturally pale. Oh, that's odd. It didn't look like she took any damage. So this is what's really happening. I was quite a bit away from Tessiah and Curtis' battle since I was circling Lucas and Arthur's, but with mana-infused eyes, I was able to make out the beads of sweat rolling down Princess's face. This was my most powerful attack. If you can take this on, I'll admit my defeat. Prepare yourself. Oh my god, this is his strongest ability, holy shit. Prince Gladier's voice became a lot louder and huskier after activating his beast will. He was a ferocious sight to behold on top of his bond, Growler. World Howl. A serious amount of mana gathered in front of the mouth of Princess Gladier as he invoked his breath attack. The World Lion had a powerful move that they used as a last resort against enemies much more powerful than them. It was a beam of condensed earth attribute mana that could shred anything in its way if not blocked properly. Oh my god. A little worried, I look at Tess again, and I could see her murmuring an incantation when the worst case scenario happened. She fainted or something? Yo, what is going on? Okay, back to Arthur's point of view. God damn it, this is frustrating as hell. I could only grimace and try harder as I tried to continue and manipulate the air molecules around me. I had little success so far, but I felt like I was onto something here. Lucas, noticing this, clicked his tongue and started chanting spells again. Flame Guardians, he shouted. Guardians? So we conjured multiple guardians, not just one. Bro, this is wild. I let out a small grin as I realized he was reaching his limit. Then again, so was I, or more accurately, so was my combat equipment. Okay, I wasn't sure when this thing would start screaming its alarm, so I had to finish this fast. As the flame soldiers gained on me, Sylvia's worried voice boomed in my head. Papa, something's wrong with Mama. She's going to get hit by a powerful attack, and she's not doing anything. This is really bad. Should I go help? Papa? Oh my god. Damn it. No, you can't do anything while you're in that form. I shouted back in my head. I could sense the feeling of desperation from Sylvie. Dang, making me all the more anxious. No! I took a quick glance up to where I heard Professor Glory scream and noticed she'd gone full speed to where Tess and Curtis was. Oh my god. Papa, she's not going to make it in time. Sylvie echoed back, sounding even more worried than before. Damn it. Dragon's Will, Phase 1, Static Void. Okay, so we get confirmation that the professor wasn't going to make it in time. Yo. My knees almost gave upon activation of the first phase of Sylvia's Beast Will as the color of everything became inverted. This ability to shift myself outside the world's time and space came with a limit. I couldn't affect anything outside of myself unless I chose to bring it in here with me. I don't have time, I said to myself, as I dashed through the gaps between the orbs that made up the dome created by Inferno's cage. I passed by the frozen professor on top of her mount torch. Quite a bit ahead, I saw Tess, already fainted, dang, and fallen from the conjured vines she was standing on, clutching her abdomen. Oh my god, as a massive breath attack released by Gladier was almost upon her. Yo, she's grabbing her abdomen. It's definitely the Beast Will. It definitely has to be. Oh my god. Sylvia was right. If I had left it to Professor Glory, she wouldn't have made it in time. I could only perch my lips in dread as I imagined my precious friend dying. Oh my god. I sped up, my vision growing blurrier as I ran out of energy. I was almost at my limit. Fuck. Hold on, Arthur. You can do this. I made my final dash towards the area where Curtis and Tessiah was fighting, and as I jumped off the crumbled vines, I wrapped my body around Tess and created a barrier around both of us with the little mana I had left. This is gonna hurt. I released my first phase, and the world reverted back into its original color. I felt a tremendous sear of pain on my back, but before I could even scream, my vision faded, and the last thing I heard before passing out was the shrill sound of my gear activating. Yo, dang. So we found out that Art lost, you know. They take out the king and then it's over. But it's interesting because Curtis took out Arthur, not the other enemy. So it's kind of, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do this. And we actually find out that, yo, Art's knocked out and this should be donezo. Didn't look like he protected himself. He's out of energy. So Arthur should be seriously injured. Hopefully Tasai is fine because, you know, Art took the blunt of it. But, yo, that was interesting. That was interesting. This is a great comparison because there was a lot of differences. We got to see different point of views like always. And it was awesome because I'm more curious about Curtis's ability even more now. Because I always thought that when you get a beast will, the beast itself should, you know, be dead. Or, you know, it's not alive anymore. It's like the will. It's like, you know, passing on like your devil fruit or something to someone else. Like you're dead when you lose your devil fruit, or like your own will. If someone's taking on your own will, you should be dead, because why would someone take on your will if you're still alive? You should have your own will. So for Curtis to activate his first phase while Grouder's still alive and well, how is that possible? Like, was that always a thing? I had no idea. Maybe it was just something I always thought that, yo, you have to be dead to pass on your will. But I guess that's not the case in this series. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. I really want to know what you guys feel about that, you know, that topic. And yeah, with that all out of the way, that ends the breakdown for chapter 56, which is the corresponding chapter of 99 in the webcomic. Hope you guys all enjoyed this breakdown. Man, this was great, like always. Oh man, I want to keep it going. If you guys want to see more, smash the like button. I'll definitely deliver. So with that all out the way, I hope you guys all have a good day or night wherever you guys are from. Remember, do not stop, level and up. SavvyNut signing out.